this was necessary because this the Relationship Wednesday theme music. This that music you just front to. You don't really dance, you don't really two-step, you just front. Just look around like. What up, bro? What up, Instagram? Facebook, what's good? All right? So, since I already wasted a bunch of time, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Bob and bounce, right? What you got your drink in your hand, just... And right, that's what the ladies do, right? You right on that one. The ladies sit there with their phone like, Alright. Y'all stop. Y'all trying to make me do too much. So, the origins of dating and why you may suck at it, right? Now, the reason why I chose this topic, the origins of dating and why you may suck at it, is a couple reasons. First of all, we supposed to be Israel. We supposed to be Christians, people of the book. I got my book right here, so in case you didn't think I was going to read something. We supposed to be people of the book, and it's amazing to me how many people don't understand the origins of dating, right? Like, I just went through Facebook, Instagram, everybody got their origins of Halloween, origins of Christmas, this where pagan worship come from. But then a whole bunch of single people have no clue where dating comes from. And it's just weird to me, bizarre on how you could be doing it in truth and righteousness if you don't know the origins. Kind of the same way we talk about people celebrating Jesus Christ's birth. Like, the only reason you celebrating his birth is because you don't know the origins. Or else you would know that you're not doing that in truth and righteousness, so cancel it. All right, so during this study, we're going to be talking about Samson. You know, I don't do a whole bunch of reading, you know what I'm saying, because these aren't really lessons. It's more like episodes and we dialoguing, right? So we're going to deal with Samson. And I actually want to kick this off in Judges chapter 13. I hope y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Oh, okay, fine. Judges chapter 13. All right, DJ, that's good. Kill that noise. So, Judges chapter 13. Appreciate that shout out. Judges 13 and verse 1. Right? Verse 1 says, "And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them in the hands of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine or strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing." Right? For everybody that just joined me, we in Judges chapter 13. Right? I'm reading verse 5 right now. It says, "For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Philistines." Now, this is a prophecy, obviously, right? The angel's prophesying to the woman about her son. And I think we would all do well to understand that this is a prophecy. And if it was a prophecy about your life, you probably would have been told that prophecy before it was time to fulfill it, right? And first prophecy is he's going to be a Nazarite. Second one is he's going to deliver or begin to deliver the people from the Philistines, right? So we talking about Samson now. Let's skip down to verse 26, right? Because this is just about Samson's parents. We want to get to the man. Verse 26 says, I guess that's 24, my bad, 24. "And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol." So just so we know who we talking about here, we talking about Samson for sure. He's supposed to be a Nazarite. That's super duper holy without being a priest. And he's supposed to deliver the people from the Philistines, right? So This child is a Nazarite. I want to take just a minute, and I'm going to kind of break rank here, and I'm going to go hold your place in Judges. We want to go to Numbers chapter 6, just because I need everybody to understand this thing about the Nazarite, because it's not something that we really read about in class, per se. Right? So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 6, or Numbers 6, and we're going to just see what the deal is with this Nazarite thing was really good. All right? Number 6 and 1. And I'm going to kind of just rush through this, right? But Nazarites are definitely the ones who took the vow, just like we're going to read it right now. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either a man or a woman separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink liquor of grapes or moist grapes or dry grapes. Right? All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing made of the vine tree, from the kernels to the husk, so no wine. All the days of his vow of his separation shall no razor come upon his head, until the days be fulfilled in which he separate himself to the Lord. He shall be holy, and shall the locks of his hair grow. Right? All the days of his separation, they separate himself, he shall come at no dead body. Right? So that's 3 things there. No wine, no haircut, and no dead body. 7. And he shall not make himself unclean for his father, his mother, brother, or sister when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. Right? And all the days of his separation, he is holy to the Lord. Right? And you can continue to read the rest of that if you want to read more about it. We just concerned about no wine, no haircut, and no dead bodies. That's what Samson is. Okay? So now we can go back to Judges. Right? Because that's basically what the angel's telling this woman, is that this boy you having, you can't drink wine while he in your womb. And when he born, no wine, no haircut, no dead body. Appreciate that. All right then, fine. Let's see where I'm at. Simple, right? Should be simple. Sounds simple. Cool. Judges chapter 14 then. And let's see about the boy Samson, who was chosen by God for a particular purpose, right? And I mean, even before we get into it, I know all of us, we just regular people. I mean, we just Americans, you know, we ain't from the tribe of Dan. We don't even know what Zorar is, right? So do you suppose maybe we was chosen for something? Did you think that maybe as, you know, spiritual Israel, physical Israel, who becomes spiritual Israel, we supposed to like separate ourselves in some kind of way and like let the dead bury their dead, all that type of talk? I don't know. You think on that. I'm going to continue reading, all right? Nate, what's good, boy? I see you. What's hood? Judges 14 and 1. That's where we at. And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Right, so Timnah is the same city that Joshua got from the children of Israel when they first came across. That's Joshua 19:50 or chapter 24, 29 through 30, right? This is the city of Joshua is where he at, or where he's going. Right now, remember, they're going back and forth with the Philistines, so the Philistines controlling this area at this time, right? 2. And he came up and told his father and his mother, saying, I seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, go get her for me to wife. Now, because Israel had not yet completely driven the Philistines out the land, like I was just saying, right? Verse 3. Then his father and his mother said to him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife for the uncircumcised Philistines? Cuz, what's really good? And Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Right now, I know that we only deal with King James, right? Because King James, what's good, cuz? King James is the version of the Bible we deal with. And that's all I deal with on Study the Bible, not the sermon, right? But, as so often, I like to just see. And verse 3 is one of them verses where I just like to see. So I want to read some other translations for you here. All right, just talking about 14 and 3. the Tree of Life version of the Bible, it says, "Get her for me, for she is the right one in my eyes." Right? And then in the New American Standard Bible, it says, "Get her for me, for she looks good to me." So, the reason why I want to read that is because we talking about looks here. And the reason why my teacher and myself sticks to the King James is because you don't need these other versions to understand this, right? You just need a little understanding, right? It said, "She pleaseth me well." And I say, well, man, he's just going off looks. And you like, how would I know that without this other version? You would know that without the other version because the woman is a Philistine. We gonna get on vanity in like 2 seconds. He not talking about, he is going off the sight of his eyes, obviously, because what else is it that could draw him to her? This woman can't be keeping the commandments of God. The parents just called her uncircumcised Philistine, right? If you read the chapter 13, the Philistines was controlling Israel. They made them tributaries, right? So nothing else to draw off of except the sights of his eyes, the lust of his eyes, right? But I read them versions anyway because I thought it was pretty dope, right? And that this is telling us something about looks. Because when you try to tell people, don't be so focused on looks, first thing they want to tell you is about their characteristics, and this person is such a nice person and the people follow him and it's all good, right? Apparently, this woman don't keep no commandments. You feel me? Sister Brandy, what's good? I see you sneaking in on them. What's good? Right? Juju, what's good, boy? So, I said all that to say, no excuse for Samson's behavior at all whatsoever. He all about lust of the flesh, right? And we also know, you could say kind of like love at first sight, I guess, you know, since you can't read it nowhere else in the Bible. Now, we do know that in the law is written, I think that's Deuteronomy 7. It say not to intermarry with the other nations that are round about because they're going to turn you away from the true and living, right? And we're going to see some of that before we get about this story for sure. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could sit here and listen to the knowledge coming out of my mouth, but I got to keep talking it. I'm going to rewind it back. Don't even trip. I'm going to rewind it. All right. Now, plus, we still on this verse 3 I'm still playing with. We still chewing on. Peep the 5th commandment, because I think this is something that all Christians need to start like bringing back home. We all try to say it's American. We can't do it like that no more. Like, yeah, whatever. Check out the 5th commandment. Anybody remember what the 5th commandment is? Sister Crystal, what's good? You know the 5th commandment? I just been asking everybody, what's the 5th commandment? The 4th commandment is a Sabbath day, so don't try that one. The 5th commandment is, drum roll. I don't want to do a drum roll. I might mess something up again. But the 5th commandment, honor your mother and your father. Why? That your days might be long upon the earth. Shout out to Sister Crystal. She must be the quickest with the typing, okay? We're going to assume everybody else knew what the 5th commandment was, Sister Crystal. We're going to assume that they knew. All right? The 5th commandment say to honor your mother and your father. And what better way to honor your mother and your father than to respect their righteous advice concerning potential mates? I know this don't make sense to us because we Americans, and I keep saying us are Americans for a reason. I'm going to get to that. Right? But for right now, just the base fact that you came out of your parents, you are them to the point where you have their name. You live in their house, you eat their food, and now the most important decision of your life, you're going to tell them, back up. You see what I'm saying? Keep in mind also, the word dating is not in the Bible at all. Not at all. Not even once. Right? The word courting is also not in the Bible at all. Right? The word court is in the Bible, but it's not talking about a man and a woman getting it in. It's talking about the court of the temple, the court of the tabernacle, like a basketball court kind of thing. Right? So, something to keep in mind as we move along, right? Samson could have honored his mother and father, or I think that was his father that said that. His father gave him the first warning. And if you know the story of Samson, it ends with him dying, right? So the lust of his eyes got him deaf. But his father tried to give him the warning, like, bruh, ain't nobody from my flesh, sisters, daughters of Israel. Once you get a commandment, want you somebody who believes, once you got to go get come on, bruh. Right? All right, then, moving right along. Now, actually, before we move right along, think about this too, since we Americans. At what point do you become your own person? Because like me, I'm a grown man. I moved out my mama's crib 3 times, right? And I currently don't live with her. But we still share the same last name, right? Still have a same last name. You say your pops was telling you that, huh? Shout out to Brandy's pops. That's what I'm talking about, boy. Hold it down. Pops, power to the people. Tell them I said what up. Right? Yeah, you move out from under your people's heads, right? That's when I would think you become your own man. Same thing for a woman, right? Maybe when you get married, right? Like sister just said, her pops was just telling her that. And I know she a grown woman. So maybe when you get married, right? Parents have property in their children. I know that this is blasphemy for Americans. But parents have property in you, right? What do I mean by that? That means that you are a part of them. You eat their food, you sucking up their air and they heat, they air conditioning, right? That's why when you get married, you a woman, you get married, your father gives you to the groomsmen, right? I feel that. Why should you get married again if he don't approve, right? At least then you'll be able to point the finger at him like, you set me up with a bum, Pops. And then Pop's gonna roll around like, what? I set you up with a bum. Right? Just like Pop's supposed to do, turn up. Right? Now, last thing I'm going to say about this is that in a marriage, property is transferred. It's so weird that as Israelites, we don't understand this because like this whole book, everything in here is about inheritance. Right? That's the thing he promised Abraham was the land, was inheritance. Right? And maybe because we ain't have no inheritance in America, we don't really get it. But that's the whole point is inheritance. That's the reason why your father and your mother choose your spouse. Because they don't want you to just do away with all the inheritance. They done worked all their life for all this good stuff. And then you just flush it all down the drain because you in love. Man, cancel that noise. Kill that noise. Matter of fact, shoot yourself in the foot with that. Right? Inheritance follows you. Right? It would be unkind, ungrateful, and downright unjust to alienate all that stuff your parents worked for in the name of selfishness. Right? But shout out to America because that's what we do. Selfishness. Right? Now, hold your finger right here. I'm going to read something. Matter of fact, don't even hold your ring finger there. I'm going to just quote it for you. Proverbs 28 and 24. It says, whoso rob his father and his mother and saith, it is no transgression, the same is a companion of a destroyer. All right, and I used to read that, and I used to wonder, how is it possible you could rob your mom and daddy and not know that's what you're doing? And I believe that this is what we're talking about here. You robbing your mother and father by not giving them any kind of say-so in the inheritance and what happens with the family name and wealth and all of that for the rest of your life. It's like they just raised you up and then like, oh, okay, dude got your heart? Okay, go ahead then. Like, nah, that don't even make sense. The more I think about it, sisters and brothers, that don't even make sense. I'm just saying. Right? Yeah, so back to Judges 14, right? Verse 4. It says, but his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Right? Sister Angie, what's good? I was wondering if you was going to creep in on me. Okay, now I can breathe. That's that vanity. All right? So, his father and his mother didn't know it was of the Lord, right? Now, check this out. People like to try to read this and say, see, Samson was doing these things against God, but it was of the Lord, so the Lord was behind him, all right? And I would encourage you to read this again more carefully, right? I've read even Bible commentaries say the Lord okayed Samson's behavior, right? Nah. This is telling us two things. Samson sought an occasion against the Philistines, and the fact that he wanted to get at the Philistines was from God. Right? Now, whether he knew it or whether his mom and them told him the prophecy or he just didn't like them busters, you know what I'm saying? That is what's from God. Not the fact that he lusting after this woman, but the fact that he's trying to get at the Philistines, and the fact that he's trying to get at the Philistines is from God. Samson's using his own desire for this woman to get him down there to the Philistines. Right? And of course, his birth is supposed to push against that, right? Better track record, the arranged marriage culture or the love marriage culture. I would love to see some stats on that. You'd have to go back several thousand years than the arranged marriage culture. But what I can tell you, in the United States of America and Western Europe, where we get the love culture, I don't live in Europe. In the United States, 70% divorce. 70, right? At the same time, while gay people trying to get married. I don't know what for, because we don't do nothing but get divorced. Unless maybe they're going to show us how it's done. Right? All right, fine. Low key, this Judges 14:4 also teaches us, and I think this is important. Watch this. Catch this. Watch this. Judges 14:4 is also telling us, if you choose to disobey God, he's still going to bring about his will. Still. Right? The only difference, right, because remember, his will going to go forth. He's going to send his word out and it ain't going to come back void. So you can do whatever you want to do. The problem is that in order for his will to be done, you probably just going to have to suffer. Right? And if you know anything about Samson, you know that's what he did. And we're going to read just a little bit of that suffering today. Right? We might have to turn this into part 2 and part 3, right? Samson's disobedient to the law, following after this woman who he ain't supposed to be following after, so the Lord gonna have to bring about his own will through Samson's suffering. Now, food for thought. Just because you bring in about God's will in your life does not automatically mean you are in alignment with his will for your life. Right? And that's again why I chose Samson, because Samson, he gonna do what the Lord said he was gonna do. And he's going about it in his own way. And because he's going about it in his own way, Israel's still gonna get delivered. But Samson, boy, is gonna suffer. The man is gonna suffer. All right? Like for instance, the prophecy said that we're supposed to endure slavery. That don't mean that all the slave masters is off the hook for all the atrocities they committed against us. Right? Same thing here. Same thing in your life. All right? Yes, God is keeping you alive for a purpose. Mr. Gangster rapper who got shot up and didn't get hit and didn't die. Yeah, he keeping you alive for a purpose. But you burning yourself up. Just saying. All right? Now, let's go and jump back in this book. Let's see what type of pain Samson going to have to go through. What type of pain he going to produce for himself through his disobedience through God's plan for his life. Verse 5. And Samson went down, and his father and his mother to Timnath. Right? So now he done brought his parents with him, right? Now this is Relationship Wednesday, so you're supposed to be paying attention to this. That even though Samson doing whatever he want to do, he can't do it without his parents. Even though he disregarding his parents' advice, nothing's happening without his parents. So, once you talk them into it, okay, now we come on. Right? And they came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. Right? And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. Let's say, how do we make sure we're in alignment with his will? Are you saying we must do beyond what he requires of us? Nah, take Samson as your example. What was it that Samson should have did to keep himself in alignment? One, he could have just remembered the law. I mean, he should have had fringes on. He should have had frontlets. It should have been on the doorpost. Should have been real easy for him to remember not to chase a Philistine. But if you forget, all he had to do was remember one commandment. Honor your mother and your father. Right? And there's a lot of debate about what honor your father and your mother, your father and your mother is. I'll just say one of the things that I say makes you honor your father and your mother is keeping the word of God. So if your father and your mother is telling you the word of God, then you honor them by keeping it. All right? Let's see. As long as I listen to my parents, that's when things change. You ain't never lied, Sister Brandy. Hey, make sure my mama ain't in here. Me too. I don't know if I want to turn up or turn down for that fact. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to read. That's what I'm going to do for that fact. No. We already read. So he saw a lion and he ripped the lion like it was a kid. Now, I used to always be like, wow, dude, so strong. He ripped the lion like it was a lamb or something, like it was a baby goat or something. Right now, my question is, as I was reading through this last week or so, when was the last time you ever met somebody who could take a lamb and just rip them apart? Don't trip, I'll wait. Because, I mean, I don't know if you could even, take my 2 fingers and just rip them apart like that. I don't know. So anyway, I guess I'm just pointing that out because that was freaking amazing to me. Okay? Samson is stronger than the average bear, obviously. Unless back then everybody was strong. So strong that everybody could just rip open a goat. No problem. Bare hands. Then Samson is still strong, but everybody was strong. All right, anyway, because I'm just saying, I know a lot of people where, you fold these papers up 2 or 3 times, and then you can't barely rip this. Just, you know what I'm saying? Samson, he a OG. Man, I'm about to do some push-ups as soon as I get off this live, matter of fact. Anyway, verse 6. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him and rent him as he would a kid, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he would do. Right? Hold on, let me see something. It's all good. Thank you for showing to me. Let's see, they bailed me out of a situation today and told my dad, thank you so much. He said, that's me job. I know that's my job. You are my only daughter, and you are my responsibility till you marry again. Turn up. Hey, Sister Brandy, your pop's in the truth? He come to class, he go to church, he read the Bible. What's up? Let me see something. Verse 7. It says that when he went down and talked to the woman, she pleased Samson. Right? I mean, she pleased Samson well. Excuse me. Right? Shout out Sister Brandy to your pops, boy. One love to him. I want to be like him when I grow up. For sure. So verse 7, the woman pleased Samson well, right? And I smile like that because of course she pleased him well. Man, you see a sister that looks nice to you, what is it that she got to say that's going to not please you well? You know what I'm saying? I know it's different for the woman, but for a brother, let me just tell you, once I made up in my mind that you look well, it's not too many things that you could say that won't please me, right? Pleasing words, right? There's some things you could say, but especially if you play the middle ground, yeah, you in there. You in there like swimwear. Just saying, right? Now, we could say that they only had one conversation from this verse, right? But I don't even think that matters. Because clearly this woman not on Samson's page, right? That whole unequally yoked thing that Sister Rebecca was just talking about, right? Clearly she not on his level, so the only way she could please him was from a conversation, right? And now, this is food for thought, right? Go get a plate. Food for thought. If you find that ungodly people please you, hold on. Somebody just came in. I want to make sure they hear this. Make sure they get this. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Catch this, catch this. If ungodly people can be pleasing to you from a conversation, I would imagine you're not asking the right questions. Right? Because how is it possible that you know all this book and all this law and all this gospel and all these pages, and you're going to deal with somebody who don't honor none of that, and their conversation is right, and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling it. I got that good conversation. You probably want to ask them something different. Because you just ask them, do they like the Bears? Do they like to tailgate? I mean, do you smoke squares? I mean, you drink fifths, you drink tequila, you drink brandy, rum. And that's what I'm saying about a woman. If I start asking a woman them kind of questions I just said, ain't no wrong answer, okay? Especially when you're dealing with the locksmith. I'm just like my teacher, okay? I drinks. So, ain't no wrong answers when I ask you what you drink. Like, yep, she pleases me well. She drinks Boone's Farm. She drink Mad Dog 2020. Oh, yeah, she pleases me well. She only drink 40s. Oh, yeah, she pleases me well. No doubt. All right, let me chill. Okay. Now, back to asking the right questions, right? Because just like that iRobot movie, sometimes if you want the right answers, you got to ask the right questions, right? And if you didn't know that already, then just take my word for it. I'm a teacher, okay? You got to ask the right questions or else you'll never get the right answer. Now, on that note, I remember one of the chiefs told me back in the day, it's a difference between asking a woman if she got a boyfriend versus asking a woman how many men are pursuing you currently. Very different thing. And if you ask one question, you may or may not get the answer to the other question. True. Likewise for a man, right? Question is twofold, right? The question is not necessarily, hey, bruh, who's admiring you? But more so, who is it that you are admiring? And how many admirers do you currently have watching you or competing for your attention? Right? How many people you got on your heels? Right? So, you want to, like I say, switch your questions around so that you can get to what it is you're trying to get to and move on with your life so you don't end up like Samson, right? Now, I know I've been paused here for a minute. We're going to pause here for a second. Let's shoot. Let's shoot for a minute. Let's shoot. Before we go any further, this woman pleased Samson, right? And I want to talk about dating and the respect that this woman pleased Samson, right? Let me turn to the side here. So the woman pleased Samson, okay? Pleasure is the primary purpose of dating. Now I know y'all be on Instagram, y'all be on Facebook, so y'all be seeing people say stuff like, and no disrespect if anybody on this thing has said this before, but I'm just making observations and sharing them. Right? So I know y'all see people on Facebook be like, yeah, I'm not looking for a boyfriend. I'm looking for a husband. Right? Oh, that's that boy Dwayne. What's really good, boy? This that religious talk, man. Come on in, man. Grab your Bible, man. It's all good. So, I don't want a boyfriend. I want a husband. Right? That's what they be saying. Kind of like when they be saying, no. You say you don't want a boyfriend, you want a husband. You need to figure out a different way to come up. Because dating is never going to get you that. And again, the reason is because the purpose of dating is to seek pleasure. Right? And again, you would not think that that's what it is until you go look it up. And then you realize maybe that's why it's not in the Bible anyway, right? True that. What do I mean? As a person that loves history, that's me, right? I decided to do just a little bit of research, just that much, into the history of dating, and I want to share it with you. Here we ready? I wrote a song about it. You want to hear it? Here you go. First of all, what we call dating has only been around for like 150, 160 years, okay? What does that mean? That means that dating, the idea of dating, is younger than the idea of slavery. Oh. Yeah, let that sink in for a little bit. People have been getting married for thousands of years, but dating, that's newer than slavery is, okay? Just that we've seen so far, no. Before dating, like I said previously, people's spouses got chosen by their parents. right? Just like we saw with Samson here and the Philistine woman. Now, everybody frowns about your mom and daddy choosing your spouse, right? But anybody ever asked that question about why? I went into it just a little bit just a second ago, right? Think about it like this. I've labored my whole life for everything I got. I went to work 80 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? I done gave up my Sabbath day sometimes when I had to, when my ox fall in the ditch. I done took the sacrifice. I skipped a vacation, all that good stuff, right? Wealth is what I attained. And you, my child, part of my wealth, by the way, right? That's why when a woman have a baby, we call that the fruit of her womb, right? Just like the fruits of my labor is money, right? Call you my seed, right? When I plant a seed, it's supposed to sprout up fruit, right? So that means that you are part of my labor if you my child, right? Inheritance, like I said, is one of the primary blessings that we get out the Bible, right? Again, Americans don't really get it. African Americans don't really get it because what's the last thing you have inherited, right? So, to the people of the true and living, maintaining inheritance is the primary thing we should be worried about, is maintaining your inheritance, right? Even if you in America and you just a Christian, you supposed to be inheriting the kingdom. So if I done raised you and you supposed to inherit the kingdom, then how dare you give it away to some random person that you in love with who might take you away from the kingdom, right? I know that's right. The messed up idea that mystery dates is going to prepare you, right? Because there's a whole industry about this. I was just debating a brother not too long ago. It's like $1 billion industry. They got TV shows, First Date, Heart Connection, Love Connection. That's since the 80s. And you see people like, yeah, we going zip lining for our first date. And it's like, bruh, if I had to take every woman zip lining on my first date, gee, I need to sell drugs again. I'm going to need to sell drugs because you tripping. You know how much it costs to go zip lining? Ain't no zip lining in Chicago. I got to drive for this many hours before I pay $1.50 per person for a couple of hours. And then I got to find out something else to do after that. Hopefully I brought my own bottle. Jeez. Right? So I'm just saying, that's that $1 billion industry that they feeding us, right? And of course, this is America. Why wouldn't it be that way? It's America. Right? I seen y'all turning up to what we inherit. We inherit bills and we inherit debts and all that, no doubt. That's why I shout out to Brandy's pops, because she all like googly eyed and he like, nah, I'm thinking clear. No to that dude. No to that dude, right? Because, you know, dude that hit you with the slick talking with the game, like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, I love the Bible. Jesus Christ, no doubt. And Pop's like, no deal. All right, let me get back. All the people in America, and I say all, I really mean most, the people who have become wealthy in the last 10 to 15 years, right? Aside from rappers, actors, and athletes, right? Aside from them three, the majority of the people who have become wealthy in the United States of America in the last 10 to 15 years got wealthy not by working, not by defeating the odds, not by coming from the bottom, not by rising from the gutter, none of that junk. Everybody who became a billionaire in the last 5 years became a billionaire because they mama and them was billionaires, or they daddy them, right? Like for instance, yeah, Sister Brandy, I already know. Just like Sam Walton. In the 50s, he put in work. That was back then when you could put in work and get rich. You know what it is now? Sam Walton got 3 kids. All 3 of them billionaires. We call them the Walton family. Go check your Forbes if you think I'm lying. Go check your Forbes. Go check your Fortune 500. All of them punks on there that got $1 billion, none of them did a lick of work for it. Straight up and down. All right? So I'm saying that to say about how important inheritance is and why they keep telling you, look for love, look for love, look for love. Did Donald Trump's daughter marry for love? Hold on, because I know y'all don't like Donald Trump. You're right. Y'all don't like Donald Trump. Okay. Watch this. Did Bill Clinton's daughter marry for love? I'm just saying. And we can all wait it out, and I'll ask you in about 5 or 10 years if Obama's daughter got married for love. Because I tell you this, just on a side note real quick, Obama and Michelle didn't get married for love. And that's why all Barack Obama's girlfriends before Michelle Obama was white girls. Nice and blonde. Right? Which I don't have a problem with, except for the fact that he realized that if he wanted black people to vote for him, he needed to have a black woman. All right? Now, you do whatever you want to with that information. I'm going to go back to what I was trying to say. They didn't work for it, right? So, parents, in the interest of protecting their income, property, and land, choose the best person that would ensure survival of the family, right? Because, we in America, that's why 70%, now check this out, got another stat for you. 70% of rich families lose their wealth by the second generation. And I think I'm going to drop a link for that in the comments because I know y'all don't believe that. What are you saying? What I'm saying is people like Lil Wayne, Kanye Titter, right? Jay-Z, if you add up all of them people who got rich in the 90s, you put them all together, 70% of their children won't be rich by the time they are 40 years old, right? That's data. You write it down, tell me if I was lying. 10 years from now, holler back at me, okay? I see the time trying to get away from me, so let me get back in. I can't get back in. I got one more. If I'm going to hit you with the American stat, I got to hit you with the African American stat. Definitely worse for black folks. I'm reading this because we got to change something. We, me, you, all of you, we got to change something. And a story that was published by The Atlantic, that means you can go Google it and pull it up. In The Atlantic, Richard Reeves, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute, did some research and found or reported 7 out of 10, that's 70% again, 7 out of 10 black children who were born into the middle class will find themselves with an income that is below their parents during their adulthood. I think when I first seen the article, it said 7 out of 10 black children will slip into poverty. That's 70% again. And I imagine that a big chunk of that is because people are marrying for love, right? Yeah. I argue that hurts us even in the 21st century, even when everybody don't live with their parents, right? Because everybody ain't got a pops like Brandy do, right? It's still going to bother us. It's going to hurt us because you got two young people that get together, and because you don't have them clear-thinking grown-ups, even though you might be 30, them clear-thinking grown-ups to be like, hey, you ain't got no wealth, she ain't got no wealth. So understand that when y'all get together, man, it's going to be hard. Right? But you don't think that way when you meet, right? Both of y'all 30, right? So y'all meet each other and y'all been watching the Cosby Show. Baby, it's the Huxtables. Boy, I'm a doctor, you the lawyer. We just gonna get together and we gonna have this many kids and we gonna happily ever after them jam. You know what I'm saying? It's baby, it's a different world from where you come from. No more living single. All of that, right? And you jump in without even having that discussion of who's your great-great-grandfather? Oh, back in the 50s when everybody was getting rich, he was a sharecropper. How about your great-grandfather? Oh, my great-great-grandfather? You talking about back in slavery? Yeah, he was a slave, no doubt. Oh, you talking about when Wall Street was being built and J.P. Morgan was getting paid? They was a slave, so they ain't get nothing? Then you can meet each other honestly, like, hey, none of us have nothing. And all the rich people has been rich already. Ain't nobody else getting rich. That's why all your favorite rich people are 50 years old. Jay-Z, Diddy, Baby, and what's the other dude? Master P and Ice Cube. All of them born the same year. And ain't no new ones. But I digress. Let me stay focused. All right, so you get together, 30 years old. Forget that, because both of us going to be Jay and Beyonce, and we just going to do it together, and we just going to live it up to all the homies that be living it up, right? And then it doesn't work out that way, because that's not real life, and that's what your parents trying to tell you, that it's not real life. And when you find out it's not real life, what happens is the relationship blows up, and then you become part of the 70% divorce rate. Right? Okay. Let's go back. Verse 8. Judges 14 and 8. So, he came down with his parents, right? The lion, he ripped the lion open, you know what I'm saying, like it was a little baby goat, like a super strong man would. Right? Judges 14 and 8. Take your time. I just remember what that meant. Take your time. And after a time, he returned to take her. And he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. A couple videos back, I had said that just because you had sex don't make you married. And there was a big to-do about it. And here, this woman is his wife, and he has not yet taken her. Right? So, I'm just saying, right? You can do whatever you want to with that. You keep having sex and thinking you're married if you want to, until you have sex with somebody who lied to you and didn't tell you it was already somebody else's wife. Swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. Verse 9. And he took thereof in his hands, and he went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and gave to them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion, right? Why didn't he tell them that he had taken the honey from the carcass of the lion? That's a great question, right? The reason is because they probably would have slapped him. They said, boy, you a Nazarite. You're not supposed to touch stuff that's dead. Not only is you touching it, you playing around in, and you come up with some honey and you gonna put it to your lips and eat it? Bruh, you tripping, bruh. There go my big brother Rasan. What's good, bruh? Right? This Judges 14 and 8. He just ripped open the lion, ate the honey, nice and unclean. Right? Now, I know it was another debate on Facebook about whether or not honey is unclean. Now, I'm not going to get into that debate right now because I don't really study bees and honey like that. I know I got some organic honey. But for this purpose that we talking about today, Samson shouldn't have been dealing with it because he a Nazarite. So that's the second thing that he done broke. Out of alignment, right? Sister Rebecca, remember, out of alignment with God's plan, right? So through the devices of his own heart now, because he destroyed the lion. He didn't have to go back over there. He went over there to see, right? Verse 6 and 7 in that Deuteronomy, remember, in Numbers, said that even if his father and mother die, he can't go touch it. But he going to touch this lion. Right? If you think about this now, this whole trip, back and forth, this is like the third time he going back now. Because he don't got his parents with him this time. This whole thing is about the lust of the flesh, right? The satisfaction of the flesh. And the Spirit of the Lord still came upon him in order for him to kill a lion while he's walking in the lust of his flesh. Right? I think that's food for thought. Go get a plate again. That just because the Spirit of the Lord come upon you still doesn't mean that you walking in alignment with God, right? Because you can't deny the Spirit of the Lord. He killed a lion. You can't barely kill a lion with a gun, right? Then right after that, he go get the honey though. All right, fine. I suppose maybe this is why the Bible say that the leaders is going to fall to worse condemnation, right? If anybody know where that's written, where it say the people who lead is going to get judged worse than the regular people, go throw that up on the screen for me because it's failing me where that's at, right? But it definitely says that. All right, somebody cite that verse for me. But I'm going to read verse 10, Judges 14 and 10. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. And it came to pass when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. People like to say this is how Israelites do it. Remember, he's in Philistia, the land of the Philistines. This is how they do it, with extravagant weddings. That's 7 days long and 30 groomsmen, right? He didn't even know these dudes. That's his groomsmen, right? So, pagan celebrations, that's what we're talking about here, right? Verse 12. And Samson said, I will put forth a riddle to you. If you can declare it within 7 days of the feast and find it out, I'll give you 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. But if you can't, then you shall give me 30 sheets and 30 changes of garment. And they said, put forth that riddle. So you got 30 people, and it's like, I'm going to give all of y'all a change of clothes if you can figure out the riddle. And if you can't figure out the riddle, all of y'all got to give me a change of clothes. Right? All right, so this, I think, was Samson's whole purpose. Yeah, he was feeling shorty, but his whole purpose was he was trying to get over on the Philistines. All right, remember it said it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion. And here go his occasion. I'm going to put forth this riddle. Y'all going to hit me off with some new clothes, and then I'm going to bust y'all down something proper. All right, that's that 90s talk. It means I'm going to kill you. Okay? Right? So, you ever talk to a woman or a man, and like after a conversation or several conversations, or like dead in the middle of the conversation, you be like, why am I even wasting my life speaking to you? That ever happened to y'all? Somebody throw up a number 1 if that's ever happened to you. You just be dead in the middle of the conversation like, why am I even talking to you? My whole life is wasting away. That's what we talking about here. Sister Miranda, what's really good? Titus 1, James 3. All right, turn up then. Turn up. So, verse 14, right? I see y'all ones. I'm glad I ain't the only weirdo. So, verse 14, it say, and he said to them, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong something came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. And it came to pass on the 7th day, they said to Samson's wife, entice your husband, that he may declare on us the riddle, lest we burn thee and your father's house with fire. Have you called us to take that we have? Is it not so? Right? So 2 things here. Samson is putting his sin on blast. He not even trying to keep it secret or keep it on the low that he eating honey out the lion. He like thirsty to tell somebody, so he make it into a riddle. Right? And then, verse 15, the people realized after the riddle that they couldn't figure it out. Like, this punk came down here so that he'd get over on us. Oh, you think you going to help him get over on us? Hey, tell us what the riddle is. We burning you. Right? And who's going to say anything, right? Israel is in subjection to them. Right? Now, ain't nobody dumb. So it's easy to figure out when you're getting hustled. Oh, that's Sister Mary. What's good, Miss McCaskey Thompson? Yeah, you didn't know I knew. I can see you. Right? Ain't nobody dumb. It's easy to know you're getting hustled, especially when you're in the middle of getting hustled, especially when your point was to hustle them. And you realize not only is you not going to get over, but they getting over on you. Right? Brother Juan, what's really good, bro? Right? So, Samson chose, if he would have chose a daughter of Israel, wouldn't have had none of these issues, right? She probably would have had new prophecy. So when they was like, hey, we gonna burn you, she'd be like, bro, I ain't tripping. He about to deliver us from all the Philistines. But that's not what he chose. He chose a stranger, somebody who don't know the laws of God. Therefore, when she gets threatened, she's ruled by fear, right? And that's a good way to ruin a relationship, is to be ruled by fear. She probably don't even know that he killed the lion, right? Even though he probably told her, but it's like, nah, it's too late. I'm scared now. You know what I'm saying? If he'd have been with somebody who knew the law, they'd have been like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Even if I do know, even if you are going to kill me, I'm not turning. You see what I'm saying? Right? She would have known about Samson, and maybe she wouldn't have been so shook by the words of these so-called tough guys. Verse 16. Let's find out what she did. Oh, man, they about to shut me down. Okay, it's all good. Verse 16. Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou doest but hate me and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and not told it to me. And he said, I ain't even tell my mama and my daddy now. Hey, look, bruh, don't try to throw your mom and daddy in this now, bruh. If you was mama's boy like that, then you would have did what your mama and daddy had said. But you didn't, though. So tell me the riddle. Verse 17. And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day, he told her, because she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. 2 things there again. Verse 16, it says, and Samson's wife. And Samson ain't slept with her yet. I'm sorry, I got to keep throwing them little nuggets out there because we got to poke holes in this idea that just because you have sex with a lady, she's automatically your wife. All right? Just like we got to poke holes in the fact that she can't be your wife until you sleep with her. Called his wife. And this is still the feast of 7 days before he lay with her. Second thing is, the whole 7 days, the woman is nagging him. Imagine if you don't listen to your parents when they tell you who to choose. You choose the wrong one, and day 1 of your wedding, they nagging you. Oh, man, you don't even love me. Tell me the riddle. Oh, my gosh, why you hating on me? Oh, man. And then you stuck, though. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about this sex thing. Like, Samson is stuck, and he ain't even had sex with her. He's stuck. He's stuck. Right? So much for the power of God, right? I think the same thing applies to us. How will the power of God work in your life if you yoke to an unbeliever? What ends up happening is that through Christ, you possess supernatural, superhuman powers. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You. And you. Superhuman, supernatural powers through Christ, right? That's Philippians 4:13. Go read it for homework. So that means everybody who's under the sound of my voice got something superhuman about them, supernatural about them. And you just let it all fly out the window because you in love. Right? This supernatural, superhuman thing, you can't let it flourish, right? Because you got an unbeliever crying on your shoulder like, ooh, tell me. You like, I can't tell you. I ain't even tell my mama and them. Keep it on the low. Shh, get off me. Right? Your God is so mighty. Why are you struggling? You got bills, right? You supposed to be cursed, but I thought God is almighty. What? Right? Not realizing that my superpower is not in the fact that I know when the bill is going to get paid, but that it's going to get paid. Right? That's food for thought. You do the dishes. Yes, sir. That's 1K. That's 1,000. All right? Verse 18. We almost out of here, y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Verse 18. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day, before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have figured out my riddle. Right? 2 things we just learned there. First thing is, to all the brothers that's watching me, never plow with another man's heifer. And to all the sisters that's watching me, if a man call you a heifer, run away as fast as you can. Right? All right, fine. Yeah. The woman feared the men of her town, while Samson is her husband. Right? And that's why I always tell people, don't tell me how crazy your baby mom's is. You the fool that went raw dog with her. Likewise, for the ladies, don't tell me how stupid your baby daddy is. You the dummy who couldn't spot a stupid person talking to you while he was talking to you. So, on that note, you get what you pay for, you get what you lay down with, you get what you come back with, you get what you disobey for. Right? Verse 19, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them, took their spoil, gave change of garments unto them that expounded the riddle, and his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife, not his girlfriend, not the woman he was courting, his wife that he still haven't slept with, his wife, was given to one of his companions whom he used as his friend, because he ain't even nobody. He was just using him as his friend because it's a marriage, right? Bogus. Out of fear, this woman switched on her husband, snitched on her husband. So much for pleasing him well, right? It was all good just a week ago. She pleased me well. Now she went and snitched on you and got you all twisted in the game. So Samson was pissed, paid off his debts by keeping the commandments, right? Well, sort of, right? Israel was supposed to destroy the Philistines, so he was winning in doing that. I would suppose that's why he appears to have gotten away with killing them, right? And I mean, you know, that's why he's not on the run. But meanwhile, he pissed off, and he go home, and his wife is given to one of the groomsmen, right? Now, again, he pissed off, but who did this to him? Did she do that to him? Did the companions do that to him? Did God do that to him? Nah, God told him how to avoid this situation back when Moses was alive. And then his daddy reminded him how to avoid this situation right before he talked him into doing it. Terrible news, right? Sister Hannah was really good, right? I don't know what they tweaking on. All right. I promise this is almost it. We just going to get to the end of this woman and we're going to cut it off, right? All right. So, Judges 15, right? And I'm just going to read about 6 verses in here and then it's done. We're going to get on up out of here. Judges 15:1. But it came to pass within a while after, in the time of wheat harvest, Samson visited his wife, still his wife. Now, the lady's father then gave her away to somebody else, and then the time has passed, it's the wheat harvest, and the Bible is still calling this woman Samson's wife. Ain't nothing, Sister Hannah. I'm just over here trying to make my point about, you know, wives and husbands and whores and dowries, and you know how I do, all right? Verse 1, we still there. Samson visited his wife with a kid, and he said, I will go into my wife, into the chamber. So now he finally got around with trying to lay with her. But he going to go into his wife. I'm sorry I got to drive this point home for people who already understand, but it's very necessary. But her father would not suffer him to go in. Right? Technically, this woman is another man's wife. But Samson's still saying it's my wife. And that's what I was saying about the whole just having sex and you married. What if she's my wife already and then you lay with her? Does that automatically make her your wife? That's what I'm saying, Israel. We just got to think a little bit more. Just a little bit more. All right? I'm not saying that sex don't make you married. What I'm saying is that's not enough. Because if she already has sex with me, that makes you an adulterer. Okay, focus. Let me stay focused, okay? In verse 2, it says, her father said, I thought you had utterly hated her. Therefore, I gave her to thy companion. Where's that written in the law? That if her father think you hate her, that he can give her away? He's supposed to change the mind when he first heard it, if it's a vow. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of her. And Samson said concerning them, now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, although I do them a displeasure. Right? Why does Samson feel blameless? Because the woman is his wife, man. Right? And the Proverbs tell you about a jealous husband, that he ain't doing nothing. What up, cuz? I sent you fall in here. Boy, what's good? Boy, we talking this Bible talk, man. Don't try to run away, man. Stay. Pull up a chair. the Bible tells us that a jealous husband, you know what I'm saying, he ain't going to spare you, and ain't nothing you can do, nothing you can buy him off with, right? He going to kill you. That's what the Bible say. Jealous husbands, that's what they do, right? And that's what Samson did, right? Even though Samson brought this on himself, right? So, verse 4. And Samson went and caught 300 foxes and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst of the two tails, right? Now, I don't think he went and caught 300 foxes at once. He probably caught 2 at a time, put the fire on them, go run through their field. 2 more, run through their field. 2 more, run through their field, right? And he did that enough times till he destroyed a whole bunch of stuff, right? Gang banging on Jesus. Right? So 150 times he got the foxes running through the crops with hot tails, right? Verse 5, and when he set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines, burnt up the shocks and the standing corn with the vineyards and the olives, right? The Philistines said, who done this? And they said, Samson, son-in-law of the Timnite. Look, they still know that that's his wife too, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion, and the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. Boy, that's how you gang bang with Jesus, cuzzo. Right? It's been my experience and my observation that the very thing that you're the most scared of is the thing that's going to end up swallowing you up and killing you. Like this woman here, she was scared that they was going to get burnt with fire. So she snitched on her husband. He tore this village down. The villagers got mad, came back and burned them up anyway. So she could have had just took her chances with her husband, right? She could have, right? So yeah, the thing that make you turn on your friends, make you turn on your spouse, turn on your loved ones, you know what I'm saying, is the same thing that's gonna get you cut off, no doubt, right? Like a dude telling his friends, like a dude telling on his friends. So they get 80 years in jail and he only get 3 years, right? And then halfway through his 3 years, he get murdered in jail, right? Turned down, right? So as I wrap this up, the thing that you most scared of, you better holler at God about it before it winds up killing you anyway. Stand by your man, hashtag. I know that's right, Crystal. Turn up for that. Hey, all the sisters out there, let me get a heart for the hashtag stand by your man. No doubt. Yeah, as I wrap this up, because we just went through Samson's first relationship. I know everybody thought it was just Samson and Delilah. Nope, he actually did it 3 times and jagged it 3 times. All right, this is just the first one. Catch me next week for part 2. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. You ain't never lied, cuz that's my word. I hope somebody got something out of this. You know what I'm saying? This bald head reasoning. I am the locksmith, and they call me that because knowledge is the key. I'm like wired up, boy. I'm on 10 right now. Every time I get on here, it's time to go, I be on 10. I'm on 10. I know that's right. Think about that, Nabal. Think about where your man standing. Hold it down. Hey, shout out to all the people who trying to live right and all the people who still thinking about living right. Come on home, baby. Let me find out. Giving them the keys. Hey, I got the keys. You know that already. Hey, but yo, let me get on up out of here. My phone just said 5%. So, bring this close so y'all can see what time it is, boy. LOCKSMIF. Knowledge is the key. Turn.